and welcome to the 2018 Skate Canada Manitoba Synchronized Skating Championships. I'm Heather Barron.
And I'm Darlene Malistravich. We'll be your guides throughout this competition. And now, let's watch some skating.
The first team, representing Skate Interlake. Please welcome Skate Interlake Synchro.
The team taking the ice is the Skate Interlake Synchro team, skating out of Skate Interlake Gimli. The team call themselves the Gimli Glitz.
So this team is from the beginner one category. Some of the criteria for those teams, there can be 8 to 16 skaters per team. The length of the program will be approximately 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And each of these members will be a can skate skater. They'll have had to hit the can skate stage 4 or higher. So this team is skating to You Can't Stop the Beat, which is by Mini Pop Kids. Their coach is Beth Rocco, who is also a skater on the University of Manitoba Ice Intrepid, which you'll see coming up later in the program. The Gimli Glitz girls are the only beginner one team that you're going to see today. They have 4 required elements, some of which we've already seen, which include the block, line, wheel, and intersection. So this, as you can tell, is their wheel. It's a 2-spoke style wheel. And it looks like they're setting up for an intersection. And these 8 girls have done a great job today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skate Interlake Synchro.
So we'll now be beginning the Beginner 2 Synchro Free programs. There's 4 teams. So the teams are from Neepawa, Verdun, Hazel Ridge, and Carberry.
The first team is the team from Neepawa, Mini Ice Precise.
This team is coached by Cynthia Sharkstrand. They skate out of Neepawa once a week for half an hour. We'll also see them at Crocus later on this year. The song they'll be skating to is Uptown Funk, which is by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a skate standard event, no marks are issued and no marks will be read. Our next event will be the Beginner 2 Synchro Free program. First to skate, representing the Neepawa Figure Skating Club. Please welcome Mini
So the
Ice
Beginner 2
Precise.
teams are required 5 required elements. We'll see pivoting blocks, we'll see lines, we'll see intersections, circles, and rotating wheels.
They have interesting costumes. They
Yeah, they're
reflect
great.
the purple and the psychedelic of the uptown funk.
And so again, beginner twos can have 8 to 16 members. The program gets a little bit longer as we start to progress through the levels. So this program will be about 30 seconds longer than the last one, which will be about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Like I said before, they'll have 5 required elements, where the beginner ones had 4. So every level up, you seem to see a little bit more required. So they're starting it with a pretty upbeat line. And we see them
circle?
transition right into a circle, yeah. And we go from the circle into the intersection. And it says here in the notes, they chose this song because they wanted something energetic that they could dance to. So I think that's exactly what we're seeing.
And they're certainly happy about it. The smiles on their faces reflect the energy.
Yeah. And there's their pivoting block. And now their final element is the wheel. So it's a 2-spoke type wheel again. And they have some speed.
And their lines are pretty straight.
Yeah, it's great.
Very nice.
Looks like they're having a great time. Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So these younger levels, the I guess assessment of the younger levels has changed a little bit lately in the last couple years. They will not be awarded points because they don't have a tech specialist who's going to be grading them, but they can be assessed based on a gold, silver, bronze, or merit, all of which require kind of specific boxes that need to be checked.
representing Speed and Vernon, please welcome Vernon Velocity.
So just starting to take the ice is the Verdant Velocity team. Their age range is from 5 to 11, and they are coached by Trisha Hayward. It says here in the notes that some of their music is from Kung Fu Panda, so I think you can kind of see that reflected in their dresses. It said that they were looking at also for something fun to skate to, and that's why we've got the 3 select pieces of music they'll be using. And so this is the wheel element that they're starting, and this is the first time that we've seen a four-spoke today. We've got a few more members on this team. This team is 10, so it's a little bit bigger than the teams that we've seen so far. And they did a great change, and now they're back into another formation of a four-spoke.
Notice that even the hairstyles fit with the theme.
Yeah. And so this is their pivoting block element. And so now their block has kind of traveled all the way around the ice, around one edge and up the side, through the middle, and then now back around.
Looking at their line formation.
Great straight line they've got there.
Pass through, intersecting, move.
Great.
Very nice.
And they fit the theme in there too while they pass through.
A double circle. That's very nice.
Yes. Well done.
Very well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, Virgin Velocity. Next is skate. Representing the Hazel Ridge Skating Club, please welcome Hazel Ridge Highlights.
Skaters on this team are 5 to 10 years old, and they skate 40 minutes once a week.
So this team is coached by Jessica Watson, who is also a coach for University of Manitoba Ice Intrepid, again, who we'll see coming up later. Jessica's also done years and years of skating herself, so we tend to see the same people stay in the sport for quite a while. This team will be skating to Viva Elvis, which you can kind of see how their outfits reflect that theme as well.
Shine of the Las Vegas gold up there.
For sure. They've really got some hand and head movements involved here. Even their skate laces have a little blue shoelace on top of them.
And we need blue suede shoes.
So that's the pivoting block. You saw it pivot all the way around the end of the ice down there, which is great ice coverage.
Nice transition into a circle.
And so this is their circle with a turn from forwards to backwards that was done great. There should be some music that gets the audience going here, I would think. And they come out of their circle into a line with a small break that they corrected very quickly.
Now they're going to move it down the ice. Good job, girls.
A very straight line.
It was. They're really getting into the music, too.
So that was their line, and we see that go right into the intersection.
Lovely.
Again, pretty high speed for those girls on the end to be moving.
And very straight.
Great. Sure sounds like the audience loved it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hazel Bridge highlights.
We'll see this team again at some of the regional competitions and at Crocus Invitational.
Yeah, Crocus is usually kind of mid-March, which is the last competition that we see in Manitoba.
Good.
Prairie Regionals is a little bit more of a qualifying event to qualify for nationals. So we don't often see some of the younger teams go there, but you'll see some of the ones that are looking to qualify for a spot in nationals go. It's a 2-day competition, so it's a little bit more of a commitment. But Crocus is kind of the fun competition of the year.
The team taking the ice right now is Carberry Energize, and they skate out of the Carberry Figure Skating Club.
So the age range on this team is from 8 years old to 11 years old, and they've been skating for years together, so they'll know each other quite well.
And they practice once a week.
They'll be skating to Get Back Up Again, which is by Anna Kendrick, who of course is a pretty popular artist. We've seen several programs based around some Anna Kendrick songs in the last few years.
Next to skate representing the Carberry Figure Skating Club. Please welcome Carberry Energize.
The bright colors on the skirts really stand out, don't they?
Yeah, they're kind of like a tutu, real bright. And some fun hair pieces.
I really hope I can do it, because they're all depending on me. I know that I must leave the only home I've ever known.
Circle. Nice formation.
Yes, that's a fast circle. And then with a change with a little bit of a, shout with their arms up and back to grabbing hands again.
That's right. Nice transition into that line, too.
They have very good unison. When they're all on a left foot, they're all on a left foot.
That's right. It comes from skating together for a while.
And practice.
Lots of practice.
So they finished their line, and again, we're seeing an intersection, which seems to be kind of a popular combination, to do the line followed by an intersection directly. And now into their pivoting wheel. Again, a 2-spoke. So we've seen several 2-spokes today and 1 4-spoke so far.
The smiles on those faces.
Yeah.
That was a nice transmission.
And again, their unison is great.
And there are 9 skaters out there.
Yes.
Sometimes they look like a lot more.
Yeah. 9 makes a really nice number. 3 lines of 3 all the time. And that was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, energize.
And so that's it for the beginner 2 category.
That moves us to our elementary category.
This concludes the judging of the beginner 1 and beginner 2.
So in the elementary category, we're going to be seeing 4 teams again, which was the same number that we had in the beginner 2s. So the communities that we're going to see represented there are going to be Notre Dame, Hazel Ridge Skating Club, Morden Figure Skating Club, and Skate Verdon.
Representing the Notre Dame Figure Skating Club, please welcome Silhouettes.
This team will be skating to music from Moana, and they chose to create a program with that movie in mind.
Yes, and these are the Silhouettes from Notre Dame. So the Silhouettes are coached by Amy Jackson, who actually also coached the last team who was on the ice, the beginner 2 Carberry team, which means she'll be doing tons of running back and forth at the ice level to try and get one team on the ice and then another team off the ice all at the same time.
And there are 11 skaters on this team. Going to form a nice circle out there.
And we will see the same elements that we saw in the beginner 2. So again, required 5 elements, which are the block, line, intersection, circle, and wheel.
I like the use of the shades of blue to represent the element of the water in that movie. Beautiful.
And so they, of course, started with the circle that you saw, and now with the intersection. They went through that intersection on 1 foot. So as we move through these levels, you're going to start to see things get a little more difficult. We started out going through things on 2 feet forwards. Now we've graduated up to 1 foot forwards. You're going to see turns going through intersections by the time we get through the end of the day, forwards, backwards entries, all kinds of, increases in difficulty.
And the glides are getting smoother and longer.
We'll start to see some more head movements, arm movements as we go up through the levels. Some things that kind of distract from the actual skating and make it a little tougher.
That was a block. Covering a fair deal of ice. And a 3-spoke wheel. Lovely distance between those spokes.
Yeah, so this is the first 3-spoke that we've seen.
Yes.
3 spokes are hard because you can't...
It's hard to keep that distance equal, and they were doing a really good job.
2 spokes and 4 spokes, you at least have someone to look directly across from to keep a straight line. A 3-spoke, you've kind of got to put yourself in the middle of 2 lines.
Very nice.
And a great job done by these elementary girls from Notre Dame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Silhouettes.
Our next team is also from the Hazel Ridge Skating Club, and it is the Hazel Ridge Highlights.
Yes, and again, you'll see they're coached by Jessica Watson. Jessica Watson coached the Beginner 2 Hazel Ridge Highlight team, also coaches the University of Manitoba team. So again, another person who has a busy day-to-day and is very involved with the sport.
Well, I imagine around here with that many teams, instead of skates, she needs roller skates or rollerblades to get around the arena between all those teams.
And so here's something kind of funny. We just listened to a program that was to the Moana soundtrack, and that's actually what we're going to hear again. So this is another Moana-based program.
But I think they're going to emphasize the beats of the drum in this one, and possibly a little different tempo.
Mm-hmm. You even often see this at, a world synchronized skating level where like a popular movie or soundtrack or something will come out and, everyone kind of jumps on it and skates to it. So happens at every level.
Yeah.
Very different dresses, though.
Very tropical. Mm-hmm. You see the flowers and the bright colors and the fringe. There's a wide range of ages in this group.
Yes.
And it takes teamwork to put them together and to have them work together. And they look like they're very energetic, ready to go out there.
For sure. And so right now they're just trying to stay calm before, as the judges finish up judging the other team, and then before these girls are announced that officially take the ice.
Looks like they're just about ready.
Mm-hmm.
I like the effect of the flower in the hair.
So these elementary programs are the same length that the Beginner 2, and then after this we'll see the pre-juvenile, which are also the same length, which is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But they've got to fit in some, extra features kind of thing as they do the elements.
This team practices an hour once a week, but they also have an hour off ice every other week, and that's becoming more common with the teams. Mm-hmm. And the higher you get, the more different types of practicing you might be doing.
Yes, and we call them off-ice practices, which are a really good time to work on things like heads and arms. Also a good time just to kind of refresh depths and timing and make sure that you can be a little more efficient when you actually have the, paid ice time.
Mm-hmm. There's the hand motions we were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting circle formation with the double circles. And switching to backwards.
Yes, and these girls on the outside are making pretty big circles, so they've got pretty good speed.
Yeah.
And so some things that the judges are looking for are good shape. So they want to make sure that you can see a definite circle. You want to make sure that everyone is evenly spaced. They're watching for speed. They're watching for just general skating ability. So they've moved from their circle into their pivoting block. That'll take them around the corner of the ice. And into their line that they'll take straight down the ice.
Nice change of speed to match with the music.
Yes, I was going to say often we'll, have a few cuts of music and they range from fast to slow to kind of, represent a couple different types of emotions in a song. And another 2-spoke wheel.
Backwards.
Yes.
Backwards is often more difficult than forwards.
Yes. And again, changes in levels of difficulty as we move up through the levels of teams. And you'll start to see these wheels actually move across the ice while they're rotating,
Yes.
Which is a large complication.
And requires much practice.
Oh, and so there's a turn.
That was a
First turn we've seen through.
And that's an interesting half circle circling the small circle, which is a nice variation.
Yes, and they'll be happy with that program.
They will also be going to Eastman Regionals and the Crocus Invitational.
Hazel Ranch highlights.
And we're starting to see the next team line up on the ice. This team is Team Pamela Pizzazz, which is from the Morden Figure Skating Club. Pam Parker, as well as Brooklyn Parker and Jordan Parker, are the coaches for this team. Pam Parker has been involved in this sport and specifically involved in Pamela Pizzazz for a number of years.
It's nice to see the bright colors again, this time with the fuchsia pink and the bright yellow. Lights up the ice.
Yes.
This team practices once a week for 45 minutes.
And we'll see them at a few more competitions this season as well. So they're here today, and then they'll be at Prairie Regionals in early February, and then also at Crocus, which is mid-March.
It's really nice to hear all the teams intending to go to Crocus and try that, because it's an exposure and it's an experience that helps the skater in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And it also develops great team bonding.
Yep. It says here that Pamela Pizzazz was established in 1993. So they have been skating for quite a while.
That's good.
And then later on in the day, we'll see their pre-novice team as well.
This team has 11 skaters.
And these skaters from Morden and the surrounding area, because it often takes more than just one community to make up a skating team. And not every small town has a team, so lots of people commuting in to find somewhere to skate.
Yes, and these skaters are under 15 as of the previous July 1st, so you have to look at your ages as well.
Yeah, it says they range from age 9 to 13.
Please welcome Pamela Pizzazz.
And they certainly pizzazz with that arm gesture as they skate onto the ice.
And it says they will be skating to the songs I Want Candy, Lollipop, and Shout. So I expect, again, this is probably going to be upbeat.
Yeah. They certainly look like bright candies on the ice.
And so this is the warm-up block. We haven't really discussed it much lately, but every team starts with a warm-up block. It's kind of your chance to get the nerves out and, you know, get your blades into the ice, bend your knees. Just kind of a chance to really get ready to actually start the program.
But they're not really starting the program cold, then it gives a sense of, we can do this.
And then we see them move out into their starting position. And we'll probably see someone wave to the music guy to tell them that they're ready.
It was an individual move that was very interesting.
Yes, and so things like that don't qualify into an actual element.
No.
But they sure qualify towards like a skating skills type judgment.
And it gives an overall look.
As a skater, it's always fun to skate to upbeat music with words like this that the audience can kind of get into and, cheer along a bit.
Well, it's reflected in their faces. They really like the music. And with the audience participation like that, it makes you feel even better. You get bigger smiles. Nice unison on that.
And so they move from their line into their pivoting block. So this is the first part of the block, and here's where we start to see the pivoting action. Cute little move right in front of the judges.
Let's get into that circle.
Smooth transitions are another thing that the judges like to see. So the changes of levels where we see them bend down low and then skating tall again.
It's nice to see them maintain the synchronicity of their steps when they're bending. That's a harder thing to maintain than upright skating.
We've got a lot of speed going into this intersection. With a turn.
And some of the lilt side to side that we're going to see with the older teams.
More upbeat song.
Another three-spoke pinwheel and
with a great transition into it. And then kind of a break in the middle where they're doing some changes. And then into a two-spoke.
All of it backwards.
Into a two-spoke with a circle inside. Wow.
So variations
Leg
in
lifts
that.
on the end. Wow.
Nice ending.
That was a very, very nice ending.
And the audience really appreciated that performance.
Yes, Darlene just started to clap.
Ladies and gentlemen, Herman Pizzazz.
They're happy with that. Look at the grins on their faces as they come off the ice.
For sure. Okay, so those are the first two out of our 4 elementary teams. So 2 more elementary teams left. So onto the replays. We're looking at this 3-spoke pinwheel that they've got. And then here in the middle, these girls have changed directions and, done some exciting dancing around. And then there's that transition where it changes into a 2-spoke.
And this next team is looking like it's really ready to go on the ice, practicing their arm movements. Okay, sorry.
So Verdon is on the ice, kind of just relaxing and having a little bit of fun before they start to go. You can see them doing the wave. They'll probably try and get the crowd going doing the wave. They are skating to 3 songs called Booty Swing, You Don't Love Me, and Bad Boy, Good Man.
Again, the use of the metallic in the costumes with the bright blue.
It almost looks a little Great Gatsby.
Yes, and the headbands, the fringe.
They're having a little fun with the camera down there, I think. So 12 skaters on this team, and they're coached by Tricia Hayward, who we have seen already coaching a team from Verdon.
Next to skate, representing Skate Verdon. Please welcome Verdon Velocity.
It said that these girls skated to a routine kind of similar to this before that they remembered and couldn't get out of their heads, so that's why they went with this one, which they say is a 1920s Charleston swing theme.
It also mentioned that there are 4 new skaters to this team. This is one of the first teams to have the skate covers or the tights that extend over the skates, which gives you a long line for the legs. You see that with many of the older teams. It helps with extensions.
The new in thing is black tights. It especially helps when you've got male skaters, and then everyone blends in. And this time we're going to be starting out with an intersection. It's kind of nice to get the intersection out of the way because they're typically known as the toughest element. So if you can get that done successfully, then the rest of it's a breeze.
And if one side continues to hold hands above the others while they go under them, that increases the difficulty. So get it over at the beginning. And a nice little sway.
Yeah.
And a nice sway to that Charleston move.
Yep. Little bit of an old school kind of kick line here.
Another day, another night got me thinking. What is it with him? He's naturally
Working a fair bit with their head movement, too.
So through the line, and now it's telling us that they're going to be doing a wheel. So we'll see what kind they do.
It's a four-spoke at this point.
Which is great with 3 on each line. Team of 12.
Reverse to backwards.
And it looks like they're going to circle out and come back in. So a change of direction in this wheel. And they'll move right into a pivoting block.
Very smoothly. That also increases as we move up the levels.
Yeah, these dresses sure are fun. They're a lot more shiny than maybe the camera can even pick up.
And blue is one of those colors that when you get on the ice, it is affected by the type of fluorescence in the arena. So what might look turquoise in one looks almost purple in another arena. As someone who's sewn a lot of dresses, believe me, you take the material to the arena first before you start cutting it.
And so again, they've got a circle inside of a circle, which is tight because you kind of just end up with more feet and more opportunity to trip on feet, but they're doing great.
And backwards. Nice move at the end. Very jaunty, very perky.
Ladies and gentlemen, Virgin Velocity.
They even maintained their position to come off the ice.
This concludes the judging of the elementary free program.
And so here's a replay of the circle, and you see one circle inside. You saw them start out forwards and then do a 3-turn into a backward circle. And then they're doing chassés throughout it. So we've kind of went from just simple stepping or pumping to, you know, actual skating steps.
Little Ice Precise are now taking the ice. They are from Nipoa Figure Skating Club. This is our pre-juvenile team.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our next event will be the pre-juvenile synchro free program. At this time, I'd like to introduce the officials for this event. The controller is Mary Ellen McDonald. The technical specialist is Courtney Story. Assistant technical specialist, Megan Maxwell. Judge referee is Susan Morris. The judges, Tiffany Edwardson and Cynthia Price.
So it says here in our notes that these girls range from age 9 to 11. They practice once a week for about half an hour. And these girls love upbeat music, so they wanted something to let them show their fun side.
And the dresses were chosen because the girls felt that they were a snappy, sassy group of dancers. This dress really suits that style. And as we watch them take the ice, you can see that reflected in their attitudes. Look at those smiles and the heads held high. And they're doing their warm-up block.
Dresses like this with kind of color blocking are always really sharp on the ice. And they'll be skating to Clap Snap by Iconopop. It is sassy. Another song that should have the audience clapping along. And so they've already had a pile of ice coverage. Started kind of in the middle, moved down towards the end, did a line all the way up the ice, and have covered the entire ice surface already in the first just minute or so of their program.
Nice transition into that maneuver. Look at the movement of that wheel. And we're going to split. They're certainly on their music.
Yes, and they're not done with the wheel yet. They're
Nope.
back. And we see them move from that wheel into their pivoting block that goes right into the corner and around.
And it goes very close to the corner, which is really good.
And they have good speed, this team.
You can really see the effect of the white line on the dress as they move in the block. It moves from side to side as their shoulders move. Nice transition into a circle there. Switch to backward.
Yes. And then break out of their circle, and it looks like they're going to head into their next element.
It's
Skate up
difficult
in
to
front
do
of-
a straight line going backwards with one in front of the other instead of side by side. That's a level of difficulty.
And the clap through the intersection, of course, to suit the music. And a great ending at center ice right in front of the judges.
Ladies and gentlemen, ice precise.
Good performance for a pre-juvenile team.
Very good.
The next section will be our juvenile team, which has slightly different elements. Juvenile teams have to be 15, under 15 as of July 1st, preceding the competition. 75% of the skaters cannot have reached the age of 13 as of July 1st, preceding the competition. There's a more specific age requirement.
Yes, so now we have Taking the Ice as Team Gravity, which is based out of Killarney and coached by Kayla Taylor, who has been coaching there for a number of years as well. So the age range on this team, like you said, has to accommodate for the requirements. The age range of these girls is 10 to 13.
This is the first year for this club to have a juvenile team.
For Little Ice Precise is
And here's our first set of black tights.
0. This concludes the judging of the pre-juvenile.
So it says their music is assorted songs from the soundtrack of The Wiz.
Juvenile
I like the purple and the black with the silver swirl.
And that kind of coral sash on it.
Yeah.
representing the Killarney Figure Skating Club. Please welcome Gravity.
They get an hour of off ice and 1.5 hours of on ice a week.
And this is our only juvenile team as well, so the only team in this event.
It's nice to see a male skater in the group.
Yes, it is. So we're seeing a 6th element added to the juvenile team components, and that will be the no holds block. So we'll see a traveling circle this time. So instead of just a stationary circle, we'll see it move down the ice. We'll see a pivoting block, which we've been seeing. We'll also see a moves element, which could involve something like a spiral. We will see a wheel, an intersection, and then a no holds block, which increases the difficulty on it because you need to stay lined up, but no one is touching. So those are some things that we'll see throughout this program.
The variation in their start position was very interesting. Fits the haunting element for the music. Circle.
This is a very fast circle.
Yes.
And you can start to see them move from towards the blue line to towards the middle of the circle there. So they have a required amount that they need to travel. We're now going to see tech specialists on the judging panel. So they're watching for specific distances that need to be covered. So from here on out, we're going to start seeing marks, and they'll be graded with specific numbers. So the tech specialists will be doing a large portion of the numbers, and then the judges are looking for how well they're performing each of these elements and giving them a grade of execution mark, which can range from a -3 to a +3.
And the pivoting block movement down the ice has more footwork to it. More difficult footwork. Nice spiral. It's not easy to do a spiral holding someone's arm.
And so the tech specialists are watching the programs looking for things like spirals, and they need to keep their, free leg up above their hip for a certain length of time. So tech specialists are doing that. You can't see it from here, of course, but they're able to watch replays of anything that they need to see, just to confirm everything before they're giving out the marks. And so they're in a 2-spoke, but they're not attached in the middle. So adds another level of difficulty to it because it's harder to stay lined up when you're not close.
And in splitting to 4 spokes, that makes that doubly difficult because now 4 people have to maintain the center.
And not so much a change of direction in it, but a change of backwards to forwards.
This is difficult, approaching each other from the back.
Yes, and they did it on an angle, so
Yes.
you don't have your bearings to line up along with the lines or the boards. And this is where we see that open block, so everyone needs to kind of be conscious of, where their neighbors are and make sure you're not too close, but you're not too far apart.
And still maintain your lines across.
As well as do all your steps. And they did a great job. Those sparkles are sure real easy to see up here, hey?
It makes your eye follow the movement.
They did great.
They did a very good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, gravity.
And we'll look at this replay. So this is the 2-spoke where they're not attached in the middle. And then we see them move into a 4-spoke very quickly, very straight, even lines. And then we'll see them pull out of this and change into forward skating, back into their 4-spoke. A very creative transition.
You also had 2 of your lines switch sides, which made it almost like a crossed X. Stick around for more of the 2018 Skate Canada Manitoba Synchronized Skating Championship on Shaw TV. Welcome back to the 2018 Skate Canada Manitoba Synchronized Skating Championships on Shaw TV.
And we're back now with the pre-novice skating event, which will include 4 teams.
Our first competitors, representing the Nipoa Skating Club, please welcome Ice Precise.
So first on the ice is Nipoa Ice Precise, of course based out of the Nipoa Figure Skating Club. We have really seen, I think, you know, a level change in the dresses. Quite fancy dresses, lots of color blocking, black tights. The hair is very done, makeup is very done.
These dresses were chosen because of the intensity of the blacks and the reds and the warlike style.
They're beautiful dresses. So we're going to see 7 elements in the pre-novice team. The program will be approximately 3 minutes and 10 seconds. 8 to 16 skaters, again, like we've seen before. Skaters at this level must be 12 and cannot be 18 as of this past summer. And so they're starting with a creative element. The creative element doesn't really have much for rules. You can kind of do whatever you want. And the judges and tech specialists kind of just simply check the box on that one.
Very nice unison in those moves.
So up until now, we've seen quite a few kind of upbeat, hand clappy kind of programs. This is kind of a deeper, darker theme program. We start to see those often with the older ages because they can use their facial expressions to show the theme a little bit more.
This team has said that its theme is based on pushing ourselves forward, never giving up, and winning the war.
And we saw that circle travel from kind of centered around the blue line and then moved its way down the ice. And a backwards entry intersection with a turn through it. Great speed coming around that corner. Beautiful spirals right in front of the judges.
They have 3 elementary skaters from last year move up, so they now have the minimum requirement to compete, and they've really come together as a team. They practice once a week for 60 minutes.
And this pivoting block is kind of moved around the corner and then moved back around the other corner, and now they're heading up the ice. And now we see them enter their no-holds element, which is a no-holds block. Great transitions as they change places with each other. They change direction from moving, down the ice to across the ice towards the judges, and then into a spin to finish it. They have done a great job of showing how good of skaters they all are.
Like many of the teams from small towns, they have skaters come in from other areas, and sometimes it's hard to get practice if you've lost your ice to another sport, but they are a wonderful group of girls that are quite willing to go elsewhere to get a practice in when they've lost their ice, and they really showed that to us today. They work together as a team.
And so this is their creative element, where they've got, a few featured highlighter spinners in the middle, and other people are doing other things around to show their abilities.
This is where costume comes into play as well, because in the creative movement, the sequins on the dress is really reflect, and it draws the eye of the watcher to that mover. team taking the ice right now.
Yeah, it's Pamela Pizzazz, who's based out of Morden. Again, coached by Pam Parker, and who I'm thinking are her children, Brooklyn and Jordan Parker. So this is the pre-nov team, who range in age from 12 to 16. They practice once a week for an hour. And they will be skating to Cool Cat in Town, and Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, which is a classic skating program music.
An effect of the black and white again. Gives the class. This is another team with members who drive in from surrounding areas to practice each week.
So the 7 required elements in this program, you get to kind of choose, make some choices a little bit in these elements. But first one is pivoting block, which we've seen plenty of throughout the day. Now we're seeing the traveling element, which is a circle that's required. So not only does it need to be a circle, but it needs to move across the ice. We'll continue to see intersections, the moves element, which is typically spirals in a line, the no holds element, which we've already discussed. And then a team gets to make a choice. You can do a linear element, which is a line or a wheel, so just one or the other. And then you can do a creative element, which we just saw the last team do a creative, which is kind of up to anyone's inspiration to kind of display the theme. And the combined element is actually when you could take a circle and put a line through it and do an intersection. You could do... there's really endless combinations of things that you can do. They're both kind of really creative choices, but you could do an intersection with a circle in the middle of it.
Again, this increases the level of difficulty. And these skaters like a challenge, so they really get into trying to get the best they can from those creative movements.
Yes. And this is the second team that we'll see from the pre-novice category. Pre-nov is often a big category because it kind of encompasses several age groups, of which skaters seem to fit from small towns.
Yeah. Well, and particularly when you can start with 10-year-olds. And so you can have 10 to 18 years. That's a large gap of age. So you can pull together your
The score for
groups.
precise.
And so probably several of these teams have skaters that are skating on several different teams because the age range is large.
Next to skate, representing the Morden Figure Skating Club, please welcome Pamela Pizzazz.
And so again, this is Pamela Pizzazz from the Morden Skating Club.
And they have 11 skaters in their group. You can notice the increase in speed even in their warm-up block.
And forwards to backwards.
It's also a good place to synchronize your arm and head movements.
We would always treat the warm-up block as the first chance to show the judges how good you are.
Circles.
And there's lots of footwork, and they're weaving in and out. Lots of hand movements.
They're changing the members from the inner circle to the outer circle with very great ease. And it's moving.
Yes, and it's moving.
Maintaining 2 circles and moving them is an increased difficulty.
Yes, this is something that teams spend a lot of time in practice on, are circles, moving circles, weaving circles. And they've got all of them.
Nice tight block.
pivoting block, sets up to do an intersection. Now this will maybe be one of the first times we've seen where they come at each other from different ends of the ice.
That was very interesting. You might have thought it would have been a back-to-back, but with the twizzle, it was... Innovative moves are very, very highly judged by as being difficult, and it's worth a lot of points. Another one.
And it looks like they're enjoying this song. And into their line element. And their open block. This team really has great arm movements. Typically, as the season goes on, you see quite a bit more arms and heads get at it. This is great considering it's their first competition.
And they're very expressive. Like face, hands, they all match.
So this is where you see the creative element, where you're kind of allowed to do anything that you want. So you've got girls doing leg lift spirals and girls just doing regular spirals. Beautiful.
Nice.
And they finish up with many spins. It's a great ending.
We'll see this team again at Prairie Regionals and Crocus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pembina Pizzazz.
Yeah, so some upcoming synchronized skating competitions if anyone is looking for somewhere to go. Prairie Regionals is in Stonewall, and that's February 10th and 11th, and that one will also be broadcasted by Shaw TV. And Crocus Invitational Synchronized Skating Championships is in Souris on March 17th. And now we're seeing a replay of that last final creative element.
We have a broken
with the
leg
spins.
spin.
Yeah, they should be happy with that performance. And now we see getting onto the ice, Silhouettes, who are representing the Notre Dame Skating Club.
The age range is from 12 to 17 in this group.
And also coached by Amy Jackson, who has coached several other teams here today. They practice 2 times a week. We've typically been seeing teams practicing once a week, but the more work goes into a program, frequently the more times a week you're needing to practice.
This team has members from Swan Lake, Treherne, Notre Dame, and Bruxelles, which is quite varied.
And they've got beautiful blue dresses. They're very long skirts, kind of like a dance skirt. We used to see kind of back in the precision time, there were short skirts. Now we've really moved, you know, as a sport, I guess, into having longer, kind of more dramatic dance style dresses.
Well, it really works in the flow. And in some of the group numbers, it really helps with the synchronicity. It also helps with leg extension, which the judges are always looking for. And the dress has a metallic finish, so it glistens under the lights. And the classic dance chignon and the bun at the back of the head.
And the song that they have chosen is I Lived by Caleb and Kelsey. And it says they chose that music just because they all really liked the music. It says they were going for simple and elegant, and I think these dresses have nailed that.
sometimes simplicity works really well with the long skirt and the long arms to the points on the hand. It extends everything you reach from leg to arm. And they have 12 skaters on this team. Looks like there was something on the ice, so one of the skaters noticed it and picked it up. It's really important because if you're in a line or you're doing a maneuver and your blade hits a piece of metal or something, you all tend to come to, you might get one fall, but they all might also come to a stop. So they're always on the lookout for that.
The score for Pemina Pizzazz is 24.90. Pemina Pizzazz is currently in first place. Next to skate, representing the Notre Dame Figure Skating Club, please welcome Silhouette.
And so skating to their starting block now are the Notre Dame Silhouettes, of course from the Notre Dame Figure Skating Club, coached by Amy Jackson.
Then they're going to warm up with a line to start.
And their creative element is the first element. Beautiful spins.
Yeah, lovely spin. Look at the way those skirts float. They also work really well for the ends of the lines. You get a half circle on the skirt. Beautiful.
That was very nice. And they move into their traveling circle.
Excellent timing for the delayed steps.
The dresses look beautiful.
Do they not? They really do.
Into their spiral element. So the tech specialists will be watching for the knee and ankle to be above the hip for a certain number of seconds as they cover the ice. for their pivoting block. They have very nice spacing in this pivoting block. It's really hard to maintain proper spacing in front and behind you as you're moving.
As well as your lines at the same time.
It's kind of hard to avoid fanning out a little bit, but they did great. And this is the first 3-line intersection that we see.
That takes a lot of planning.
Yes. So the first time we see an intersection with more than just 2 lines lining up and passing through.
It's more difficult.
Yeah, every skater needs to find 2 holes that they need to pass through. And they turn through it, of course.
And a 3-spoke
And the
pinwheel.
3-spoke.
Moving.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Change of directions, back in, great spacing.
Everything in this program seems to go together. The dresses, the head movements, the arm movements, and the choreography. It seems to fit with the theme of the music.
And the
It's a
beat
excellent
is really
choice.
flowy.
It has an elegance, and they all seem to want to reflect that.
And this is their open block where they're trying to maintain space. A change of positions and lines. And then they finish.
Very nice.
Beautiful skate.
Ladies and gentlemen, silhouettes.
And here's the replay of that 3-spoke. Very well done. So the spacing is good. Their lines are nice and close together, even though they're not holding on. And there's where we see them go out, change directions, and then they'll come back in.
Even the way the
complete
positioning
it.
of the heads and the arms on the ends of the lines, they're all into the center, so it looks much neater.
Yeah. They look pretty happy.
Yes. The team taking the ice right now is the Hazel Ridge Highlights, and they skate out of the Hazel Ridge Skating Club.
Another team coached by Jessica Watson.
There are 8 members on this team, and they are 12 to 16 years of age.
And this is the spiral that we're seeing as the replay. So that was one of the 2 spiral lines. And this is our 4th and final pre-novice team of this event.
Most of this team has been put together for about 9 years, but they practice once a week, and they have 1 hour of off ice every other week.
And this is their creative element, kind of featuring the 2 male skaters. So spirals are a pretty common theme in the creative elements.
Skirts also have almost like a country ruffle on the bottom from a square dance
Yep.
background.
And so this is their no holds element. Great lines. Evenly spaced. And you start to see the footwork get quite a bit more complicated as we go through these levels, and especially in the no holds blocks. And so they're setting up for an intersection. So they've done kind of an angled intersection where lines are crossing through at 90 degrees instead of right against each other.
Which adds another difficulty to pacing yourself.
And so this is their traveling circle, which isn't attached, which of course is quite difficult to do. And this is their pivoting block that they'll take down the ice and around the corner here. Change from forwards to backwards. And the music is quite upbeat. So that line had what we call kind of a regression, where you go forwards and then you turn yourself back around and go backwards. Those have some difficulty to stay lined up while you do it.
Many coaches want to put in something as challenging for their team to learn because it gives them more incentive to work, and it also increases the presentation before the judges when they master it. Nice legs. Beautiful.
Yes, so this is their moves element. And that's fun how they finish on different ends of the ice like that.
This team will also be going to Prairie Regionals and Crocus Invitational.
Hazel Ridge highlights.
And here's the replay of that creative element, which was what they did at the very beginning of their program. So that was kind of a pair-inspired element, which we're starting to see in the sport quite a bit.
I kind of like the little country dip at the end of the spiral.
Yeah. We're starting to see quite a few teams at senior levels, you know, even these open and adult teams or senior teams that are, you know, in Ontario, start to have dance skaters come in and working with them, working on some of these elements.
Well, the off-ice is an excellent place for that, to have a dancer come in and work you through the maneuvers without having to use the ice.
Yes. And this is their moves element, which is a spiral, where the judges will be looking for the height of the leg for a specific time, as well as potentially judging them on the edges that they're on.
We have another team taking the ice, and they are actually scouring the ice for sequins and anything that might have come off.
Bobby pins, sequins,
Bobby pins, yes.
hair pieces, anything.
There are a lot of them out there, so obviously from where they were standing, they could see a lot of glitz and glimmer, and you go and pick them up.
Or they've had some issues before, maybe.
Yes. Maybe that's where they do a particularly difficult move backwards and they wouldn't be able to see it. It is a safety issue. And another shade of blue, a different shade of blue again. Notice that the sheer on the bottom, although it looks darker, it may just be because the way lights hit it. It's a different fabric.
And sometimes these ice scanners who are looking for sequins or bobby pins aren't so much looking for things, but just want an opportunity to skate and kind of get their nerves out. So that's often who you see out there doing that, the people that want to.
Yes.
On the ice right now is Wheat City Connection, who represents Skate Brandon, and they're coached by Tammy McKay. This is their first year as an Adult 1 team. The rules changed a little bit in ages. It used to be that a skater on an Adult 1 team or on any adult team had to be 19 by the July preceding competitions. And that changed to 18 this past year, which prompted them to move from being an open team to moving to an Adult 1 team.
That was good. The more people we can keep in the sport, the better. This is a good-sized team. It has 22 skaters. At least 75% of the skaters on the teams in this class must be 25.
So this is the youngest and more competitive of all of the adult segments.
It's an open four-spoke pinwheel moving. Nice transition into the and back out.
And the music they're skating to is Lost Girls.
I don't have
And so there's 18 skaters on the ice with this team, and I see they have a couple spares, but this will be the first time in a very long time that a Manitoba competition has had a team with more than 16 skaters on the ice at one time. So even sitting here watching it looks very big because there are so many. And that's due to that change in that rule where before it was limited to 16 skaters, but adult is actually open to up to 20 skaters. You see that handhold change? And so that's their block. And so that's their pivoting block that moves into a circle. Again, where we're seeing a large circle and a small circle inside. It's really not a small circle, though. There are a lot of them inside. And then you can see it traveling down the ice right in front of the judges, and they're going in opposite directions.
So that is, when you're skating, that's difficult to maintain your place.
And the risk of running into someone going the other way. And now a different version of two circles. And again into the pairs elements.
She's new at this level.
Yes, a pair element is required here for the first time. And again, look how big it looks. And the more people you have in a line, the harder it is to keep a line straight.
That's right.
And so they pivoted that line one way, and then you need to have the slower end pick up speed and all of a sudden become the fast end, which is very hard to do. And then their pivoting line moves into two lines to finish it. So that was a pivoting line with a change of pivot, and then into two lines to continue pivoting.
Nice arching of the back in that one.
And now into their creative element, which again, you can kind of, almost do anything that you would like. Beautiful. Those dresses look great out there.
They do.
Just enough sparkle, but a nice dark color.
Again, the look of elegance to go with the music.
Weed City Connection.
And know that the three spares that travel with this team, they won't compete because they're underage, but they come to practice, every practice, so they can be a part of it.
And so this is where this is where we see this moving circle. Again, probably the element that a team spends the most time focusing on, especially when it's this difficult. Switches into the two circles. And there's the team.
So we're pretty pleased with their performance.
Yeah, and that's Coach Tammy McKay in there giving the girls hugs. So she looks like she's pleased with it as well.
This team from the Notre Dame Figure Skating Club has 14 members on it, and they range in age from 21 to 37.
And again, coached by Amy Jackson. This is the second year that they've had an adult team. I'm not sure if they competed last year or if this is a first for them, but the second team that they've kind of been together.
Well, they come from Swan Lake, Holland, Notre Dame, Carmen, Winkler, Morden, Winnipeg. That's a large area. It's excellent to get the time to be together and do this.
And again, these are beautiful dresses. Nice long skirts. The sleeves are beautiful.
That was a beautiful, graceful wave to the music.
And they're starting out with their circle element, which I think very shortly we'll see travel.
It's nice and round. There it moves.
Great even movement. And they're setting up for their intersection, where they'll travel down the center of the ice towards each other on an angle. With a turn through it, that was great. Into their moves element, which is the spiral. Break out into this creative element. So you can see they've kind of got one skater that's being featured and everyone else kind of highlighting around them.
And then 2, and then 3.
Yes, beautiful. And they cover a lot of ice while they do that.
To regroup.
Into the block, yes. And so this is an attached block. And that block covered kind of one corner of the ice all the way down across, and it seems to be coming back around and up the middle. So lots of ice coverage.
Change of handhold into the 3-spoke
Yes.
wheel. That's well done. Again, to travel with it.
It's very controlled. Into a 2-spoke.
To a broken 2-spoke.
Very sophisticated music to match their sophisticated dresses. That was very nice.
Very much.
They look happy.
I think they're pleased with their performance, and they should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, silhouettes.
And so here's the start of that 3-spoke pinwheel, where they're keeping a nice equal distance between each line, and then they move out around and then regroup as a 3-spoke again.
when they break and regroup, they switch the ends of the pinwheel. People may not notice that, but who was in the middle is now on the outside.
Yes, a change of direction and a change of pivot.
Pivot is it was well
Pivot
done
point.
because it was so smooth. And the dresses are black, but they have a burgundy look to them on the lights. I think that's just because of the fact that they're a very rich fabric. They look happy with their skate. They're all smiling. The glitz crown-like effect on the back of the bun and the black dresses remind me of the Black Swan
Oh, yeah.
from the ballet. Their movements on ice also resemble that.
So up next, we have one team in the Adult 2 category. That'll be the Hazel Ridge Highlights. They're coached by Jessica Watson. This team ranges in age from age 24 to 59. And they've got some fun songs, including I Will Survive and Hit the Road Jack.
The team has just returned from Toronto where they attended Winterfest. And after this event, they'll be going to Prairie Regionals in Stonewall, and they hope to qualify for the Canadian Championships that will take place in Oshawa.
No.
That's why.
That last info was wrong because that's ice and trumpet. And regular rounds without highlights. So this Adult 2 team practices for an hour and 15 minutes once every week. It says they pick this music because they're strong, sassy women, and they don't need anyone to take care of them. They'll also be competing this year at Prairie Regionals and Crocus Invitational. Last 3 pages. And so they're starting out with an intersection on a 90-degree angle. The neat thing about these intersections is there's only one actual intersection between people happening at one given time.
I'd like to help you in your struggle to free the 50 ways to make you love. 50 ways to make you love.
And so Adult 2 is, the category is made up of up to 20 skaters. Everyone must be 18 by July 1st, this past July. And 75% of the team must be over the age of 25. And I think this is where it gets sassy.
I think you're right. Look at their faces and their arm movements. And an increase in tempo. Moving circle.
And so that's their traveling circles that moves across the ice kind of away from the judges. There are some elements, 6 elements are required by an Adult 2 team, which include the pivoting line, the traveling circle, which we just saw, the rotating wheel, the intersection, the block, which we just saw, and then they need to do either a creative element or a combined element. And this is their block that moved into their wheel, which we see another 3 spoke. And again, that change of direction and change of who's on the end and who's on the middle.
Really getting into the music.
And this is their creative.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hazel Ridge highlights.
This is a nice backwards three-spoke wheel. The lines are straight, keeping their heads focused. And now change around.
A lot of sparkle on these dresses coming out.
Again, the use of blue. It's a very effective color on ice. Patterned with the black, it has a whole different look. And a different cut to the front than we've seen before.
So this is an open team. U of M Ice Intrepid has been an open team for a number of years, kind of since that category came out. An open team is allowed to have up to 16 skaters. It's a 4-minute program. Skaters must have reached the age of 15 prior to the year of competition. 8 elements are required, so that's the most elements that we've seen required. As well as the longest program time, so the most endurance required. We'll probably see some more speed, some more heads, just a little more difficulty in general. So the 8 elements required, it'll be a pivoting block, a traveling circle, the intersection, a moves element, a no-hold element with a step sequence, and then they can choose between a line and a rotating wheel. They then need to choose between a pair element or a synchronized spin where the entire team is doing the same spin. Then they can choose between a creative element or a combined element. So this is their circle. They're traveling as well as weaving in and out of each other. So it's important that you kind of always end up in the same space at the same speed with space for someone to allow to get through.
This group just returned from Toronto where they attended Winterfest, and they will be competing at Prairie Regionals in Stonewall. And they hope to qualify for the Canadian Championships that will take place in Oshawa.
And so that was their pivoting line, and then you saw them go into kind of pairs and pivot around each other within the line.
And that's the third change of handhold.
And now they're setting up for their intersection. And it's almost kind of a blind intersection, these ones. These dresses are beautiful.
Yes. I like the extension of the leggy onto the skate because, especially with a male skater in the line, it gives the legs a very sleek look. Head turns are very much synchronized.
Lots. I actually noticed that in their practice. They do a lot of head turns in this block. Their mood really shifted with that music. And here's their creative element.
Which
I was wrong,
almost
that was the
intersected with
move
the other
element.
one. Yeah.
And so they have chosen to do synchronized spins instead of a pairs spin.
Great evidence of practice with dance in this.
And so this is their no holds, and they're even pivoting in their no holds.
certainly expressing their music beautifully.
Everyone's hair is done perfectly the same. And so the tech specialist will be looking for the, to identify which turns are which, making sure that a rocker's a rocker, a counter's a counter, a Choctaw is a Choctaw. And they'll either be, graded as they hope to be or downgraded based on anything that the tech specialists pick out. And this is their creative element. Beautiful spins.
Which still leaves portions of them. Doing a circle pass. That was beautifully done.
It's a great ending.
Very dramatic.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ice Intrepid.
Technical terms.
Well, they're smiling. Looks like they enjoyed what they did. You notice that even though they're in fantastic shape, it's a hard program, and they show it. They're breathing,
And the advantage that this team has is they're the only team that's already been to a competition. And so this is their spiral element. So you see these girls doing their leg lifts, and then the spirals coming through in two separate lines. So it's kind of a nice creative way to do that element.
In just a few moments, we will do the...
So as we go through some of today's highlights, that does it for us here at the 2018 Skate Canada Manitoba Synchronized Skating Championships on Shaw TV.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you missed any of the broadcast, you can catch it all on Shaw TV's YouTube page.
And keep your eyes peeled for the upcoming broadcast of the 2018 Prairie Regional Synchronized Skating Championships from Stonewall, Manitoba. See you soon.
23.88. Silhouettes are currently in second place. Paper race highlights are currently in third place. This concludes the judging of the pre-novice synchro free program event. .00